Hello world, my name is Maria Martinez with Reality Originals, and I am coming to you today, September 13th, 2016, and I'm presenting my first intuitive reading. Now, I have used two different decks here, and the primary deck used is the Mary Queen of Angels, if I'm not mistaken, deck, as well as the Archangel Michael deck, both by Doreen Virtue. I'd like to say thank you. They are exemplary tools, these cards, for intuitive readings. Now, I am a master creative. I am a crafter. I'm an artist, in every sense of the word. As I was sitting here working on a project, I had this gnawing question about the homo capensis species. I've been learning a little bit more about our world, as we always tend to do. And what I've learned in the recent past is that on our United Nations board, all the members aren't 100% human. And so I've learned that the non-human species on the United Nations board, which pretty much runs our politics here in this world, are called the homo capensis species. And so I was sitting here knitting, as I said, working on a project, another masterpiece, and I kept wanting to do a reading, a spread on the existence of the homo capensis species here on Earth, what their intentions are with us, where we stand cohabitating with this species, whether they're malevolent or good for us to cohabitate with. Is it safe? But my impression was that there's something else going on, considering how our world is in shambles at this time, at this moment in time. It's always been a little topsy-turvy. However, as of recently, it's just like the Ringling Brothers circus out here. So I really had to get down to the nitty-gritty. And though I've looked over biblical scriptures, I have attended sessions, I've heard different theories, and have heard from different researchers who've gathered information. I like to go within for the truth, within myself. I do believe that the divine truth lies within us all. And so I put down what I was doing and I broke out the cards so that I can get some clarification on this nagging question on my mind that's weighing on my heart. I like to know the truth about the matter. So I asked in the name of Christ and Yeshua, because, as I mentioned in a previous video, that's who I choose to pray to. I know where I come from. I know where I belong. And so, as I cleared the cards from the previous reading, and I infused them with love, and I thanked God, and I thanked the Lord in advance for the privileged information that I was seeking, I shuffled the cards, and what I heard was to put out a 4-card spread. Usually when I do my intuitive readings, I don't do any particular spread unless I choose to do a particular spread. In cases of world events, such as this one, or spiritual matters, I like to let it flow freely. And just an aside, I do personal readings, not so much astrological forecasting, or I don't really go into the astrological signs, but I am more prone to go into the depths of the truth about who and what we are as mankind here on this earth, and about the universe, about the laws of the universe. Aside from what we've been conditioned to believe, aside from the information that has been fed to us, though they are guidelines. I can also be found on Instagram at RealityOriginals. That's all one word. Apparently I can be found on YouTube now at RealityOriginals, which I don't believe is all one word. Try either way. Come see about me. But it is my pleasure, and it is quite a privilege, that I get to come to you today, world, with such an important topic. I believe this is important because I do believe it is important to know where you come from, to acknowledge, to remember. Okay? So, the first card that came out was the God card. Second card, self-respect. The third card, gratitude. The fourth card, the family card. I want you to see these in detail. And just for extra measures, I would usually put out an extra card and put it right on top of the deck. And as I pulled out that last card, I said to myself inside my heart, what is the foundation of me seeking this information to begin with, dear Lord? And no less, the Jesus card came out. And as you can see, he has his right hand on the forehead of an innocent babe, pointing up to the family card. And I'll explain all this in just a moment. And because between the self-respect and gratitude card, it didn't click right away. So I did pull a clarifier out of the Archangel Michael deck, and it says, be gentle with yourself. And I put these cards in no particular order, as I mentioned, lest they come out and intuitively connect with one another in regards to whatever the information that is being revealed is. Now, my initial question and reason for being prompted to do this spread, as I mentioned, was who are the homo capensis species? Why are they here? How did this happen? Where did this originate? What are their intentions? Who, what, where, when, why, and how? What we gathered here, what I immediately seen and felt and acknowledged was with the God card, we see the Virgin Mary. You see the dove descending down upon her. She's looking up. That's expectancy. She's expecting that. She's expecting. She has her hand on her belly. It looks like she's expecting, period. Now, if you look on that vault she's standing on, there's an angel type being kneeling and being presented with the child. Now, that flying bird or whatever that is above that figure on the vault or tomb looks like it's flying away from that being, not towards it as it is with her. Okay? Now, my first impression was that in the kingdom of heaven, being that this is the God card. The homo capensis species does coexist in the kingdom of heaven. Going back to the Jesus card, you see how he's pointing to the family card? These are the first two cards that I noticed in relation to my question. Who are the homo capensis species? They were also residences, or either are or were, of the kingdom of heaven. We already cohabitated there. And what I'm seeing is that man is the head of the household, of the family in the kingdom of heaven. He was appointed as that, as head of the household, man, right? So when this angelic being is presented with this pure and innocent babe of a man child, instead of honoring it, he became jealous. He became envious. For some reason. And that bird or flying entity above it flying away, I feel was when his light or soul had flown from him the very second of dishonor. And then envy set in. His light had gone. And in Latin, that would sound like luz se fue. The light has gone. Sounds a lot like Lucifer to me. The second card is self-respect and gratitude. Now, I didn't understand these cards off top, which is why I pulled the clarifier. And what I did see, if you notice, on that table in front of the child and woman, there's a little note. And what was revealed to me was that this was an offer that was put on the table for mankind. As I mentioned, because man is the head of the household in the kingdom of heaven, or has been appointed as such somehow. Previously, I said, instead of honoring man, this being instead coveted mankind. He became jealous. After jealousy, that jealousy begat anger. Now he's plotting and scheming. He knows his light is gone. He's not holy anymore. So now all of these fear-based emotions start rising up in this being, the homo capensis species. That is an offer on the table. Look at her. Is that a notice? Is that a death threat? Look how she's looking up. She's considering it, right? And she did it. She bowed down. And what she bowed down to was allowing this species to enter into the waters of her womb. There was some kind of agreement made here, some kind of pact, and I believe that she did it for the sake of the kingdom of heaven, for the sake of salvaging the kingdom of heaven and even the earth, actually. He wanted to enter into the waters of her womb so that he could be remade into the body of man, hoping his light will be able to inhabit that body again. But guess what? It did not. And if you look at that baby in her lap, he's looking down at the others. He's looking down upon the others. You see him touching his face with his hand now. communication happens to be my strength, folks. So not just phonetically, not just by speech, not just verbally, but I can read between the lines. And usually when people, if you're talking to someone or whatever, and they're touching on their face, that means they're self-conscious a lot of the time. Also, the eye, the nose, somebody's lying to you. Okay? It's one of the first things I noticed from this card. Now, I don't think, according to this reading, that it was so much a secret in heaven, the compromise that was made, the sacrifice that was made here. But I do see that the moment she made that decision, you notice her hair is not covered here, her hair is not covered here. As soon as she made the decision to bow down and bear a child who was not enlightened, heaven covers her thoughts, covers her head rather. Now she's guarded. She's guarded and protected. And in the gratitude card, she's completely covered. Her whole crown chakra is covered. Watch and guard your thoughts, people. Now you see the baby's reaching out. He's like, Mama. He's looking at her dead in her face. She's not even looking at him. She's not giving him any eye contact. And in fact, she's looking down. She's looking down. She feels guilty, perhaps even ashamed at the decision she made. However, she made the best decision for the situation at that time. She thought she was doing the right thing at that time. The card is gratitude. In show of his gratitude, you guys are this is gonna blow your mind. What was revealed to me was that as a gesture of gratitude, which surprisingly, the promise was kept, even here on earth, to honor her name, to honor her for making the decision to let him remake himself through her body. Now, he was made in the likeness of man, but his soul did not come back. It was a mere distortion, a distorted version in attempts to duplicate the light of God. The distorted version is called rebellion. It's called evil. And perhaps it left a lesion in place at the seat of the soul. Where the soul belongs, there was a lesion, a scar instead. A shadow, darkness. Because remember, his light left the moment he wanted to covet man. He went from thinking to envy to anger to hatred by this point. And now she probably feels like garbage. She just gave birth to an unenlightened being. Now she's experiencing things like she probably hasn't before. Things you don't experience in the kingdom of heaven, such as pain or fear-based emotions. And my feeling is, what I'm sensing is that energy is only a distorted simulation of the light of God. You cannot duplicate or replicate or facsimile or none of that. The light of God, you can only attempt it, and it will only come out to be a distorted version of that which you were aiming for. And I believe That is what happened here in the case of the Homo capensis species in relation to mankind. So, in showing his gratitude to the mother, once here on this earth, there was a temple erected in her name. I'm not even going to say it because I bet you guys can guess what kind of institution or structure this might be. Honoring and worshiping the mother. Now, if you look at the family card, she's holding the baby. She don't look happy. Those other enlightened beings, those other pure and innocent babes that are gathered around, they don't look excited. They look kind of curious, a little standoffish, like if somebody had a cold. And they're not cooing at that baby. If you notice, baby right here he's in prayer mode. Baby up here is in prayer mode. They're praying over this child. They're praying over this being like it's a sick entity, like somebody's ill. Either way, they are together in prayer mode, praying over this swaddled child in the mother's arms. Now, in the name of Christ and Yeshua, what I've gathered is that we as Homo sapiens, and because I do come from a little bit of a Latin background, I can't help to wonder if Homo sapien could mean those who know, as opposed to the Homo capensis species, which would mean those who think. And from what I've gathered, the Homo capensis species are not very empathetic. They're not creative at all, like an average man is. Normally, we're very creative beings. We can make something out of nothing in no time flat. No magic, no tricks. It's our divine nature, because we are divine creatures. We know they think. They're better at mathematics, numerology, things of that nature. Be gentle with yourself. The clarifying card here, what that told me, and it went right over the self-respect and gratitude card, was because the mother did not feel good about herself after that. You know, she made a selfless act. Maybe she thought it was the right thing at the time, but either way, she became hard on herself. And what this message was kind of directed towards me, because I am a woman, because I am female, I am a mother. I know that we at one point have been deemed as a subspecies ourselves. We were not allowed to vote. We were not allowed to read. We weren't allowed to write. Constantly being prosecuted and persecuted for nearly every step we have taken in life. And now I can see why. We've been blamed for everything from the beginning because there was a decision made that has resonated throughout our lifetimes and generations on earth and before. So the advice from on high is to be easy with ourselves. We did the best we could at that time. We made a decision that we thought that was the best one for salvation for us all, for the kingdom of heaven at that time. It's not the woman's fault. So I was so excited to have came upon this information, and I know it's not the end all to the is all. It's just a little piece of the puzzle. We have our biblical versions, we have the Quran, we have the Torah, we have the Holy Bible, and all of these things were written by men, generations, testimonies, the disciples of Jesus, writing these things, just round tables of men writing the same story over and over again. And now I see. Folks, I'm going to come at you with some more in the near future. I hope that this was entertaining, if not anything else. Thank you for watching with me and listening, and I hope that you will feel free to contribute any additional information that you might have in regards to this. Question everything, people. Please subscribe to my channel and let's build. All right, everyone. Love from my heart to yours always. And I implore you to magnify.